And we're back here out of the half. It's 32-29. And Jack, what's the big reason for the Rebels' lead?
Well, what I'm going to blame the Rebels' lead on is rebounding. They're letting Aaron Caldwell dominate the boards. He's got 5 from the first half. And then you've also got Jones, who scored 11 points, and then Buchanan, who scored 10. So they've combined for 21 of the 32. Those two combined have almost outscored the Farmington Knights. So we've got to get a hands in their face, and we've got to box out on every single board that's possible.
And the thing is when you look at what the Rebels have been able to do shooting-wise, a lot of them have been those pull-up jumpers that kind of beat them off the dribble and shoot it there from the corner of the key. And really it's been good shooting. It's not the kind of thing where the Knights have necessarily played real bad defense. The out-rebounding, no doubt, is something that you've got to be able to fix. And that's the one area right now where it's very obvious that we are hurting without Ankrum out on the court. And Ankram's still limping around quite a bit. We talked about this at the break, kind of joking around, just waiting for that moment when you see him slowly start to take his shirt off and you've got the jersey on underneath, and he all of a sudden comes out here and onto the court fourth quarter when it's a 2-point game. And needless to say, having one quarter of Ankrum would be a little bit of a difference maker. If some kind of magic like that is existing tonight, Callahan's not one to shy away from strategy. I'll never forget it. I've talked about it on several broadcasts. Now, it's been a couple of years since I think I've talked about it now, but years ago, when Callahan was coaching the Knights, we had Ben Durbin out on the court, and it's a video that I've shown off several times. It was at Farmington High School, and this is when the Farmington-North County rivalry was at its biggest. And out on the court, it was about, I guess there was at the time, a 3-point difference. And I guess it was a 2-point difference because Durbin didn't make the shot. What happened, though, was before the inbound, because Knights called the timeout and we had the inbound, it was going to be by North County to inbound the ball. Before the inbound could even go, and Bridges drops 2 down to extend the lead to 5 for the Rebels. Before the inbound could even go in, Durbin on the far side of the court, Barnes with the look for 3, and Knights finally get a 3-point shot. That is their first, I believe, since Callahan dropped his in. He was the last one to drop a 3-point in, and on the other side of the court, give 2 to Courtois. England with the ball for the Knights. Pulls it out, gives it to Hardy, and over to Barnes. Anyway, to finish the story for Durbin grabbed a hold of one of the Raiders' jerseys and tugged on it, and when he did, that pulled the Raider forward, and it looked like he threw his arm into him to knock him down on the court. Well, the foul's called on the Raiders, and it ends up Durbin goes to the line. He makes the first, misses the second. Knights somehow get the rebound, put it back up. They end up winning the game. So I'll tell you right now, there is some strategy that exists within Coach Callahan, and it would surprise us all, but it definitely wouldn't shock me to see something like that happen. Caldwell able to drop 2 in, and Knights still down by 4. Nice move by England. England then gets tripped up, looks out, gets a pass to Pratt. Barnes with an open look from deep. No good. Gets his own rebound. Barnes takes it out on top to Callahan. Callahan starts to drive in. Instead pulls back, spins around, looking for the open man. Gets it to England. England looking in, starts to drive it in himself. Gets an open look to Barnes. Barnes, no good. Puts his own shot back up. It's no good. Puts it up again. And finally gets another shot off. None of them are good. Spin around jumper, no good. Rebels with the second chance. It's no good. And right now, nobody can make the ball. England takes it the full distance, puts it up, and gets it in with the 1. Wow. Wow.
In 2 possessions, Jonah Barnes had 5 rebounds, yet he couldn't make a single shot.
That's one of the crazier sequences that you'll probably see here at the Christmas tournament. This has been a great game so far, but it's pretty hard to compete with the game that happened right before this between South Iron and Hillsboro. Both of these games tonight have been great games. As you can see, it's been a packed house, and neither one of these games have disappointed for the turnout. England shot up and in, making a 3-point play, and the Knights only down by 1 with the Rebels' possession in the hands of Sherfus. Sherfus bringing it down the right side of the court. Back out to Bridges. Bridges looking in. Instead gets it over to Buchanan. Buchanan out on top to Sherfus. Around to Jones. Jones looks inside. Gets the shot up. But it is blocked by Hardy. A great job by Hardy. He went straight up. Didn't give him a chance. Knights with the chance to take the lead. It'll be their first of the half. And putting it in is Pratt. And Pratt is pumped. Great to see with him on the court. Pratt, being a senior, this is his chance to shine, and he gets the shot in to take the lead, 39-38. .452 on the clock, and it would really be interesting to see what the difference would be with Ankrum out there on the court. You were talking about the rebounds. Undoubtedly, in my mind, take those rebounds away. There's no way that the rebounding is going to go like it has for the Rebels. And you take that away, that has been a major difference maker there in that second quarter. Now, when you look at the quarters overall, Knights have beat them in the first quarter. So far, they're winning here in the third. So really the difference maker was that second quarter when all of those rebounds happened. And if you've got Ankrum in there, there's no way that the Rebels are going to be able to pull down those kind of rebounds at that point. The Knights come back out onto the court with Barnes, England, Pratt, Callahan, and Hardy. A good set of 5 out on the court right now. The Rebels student section making the first noise of the night between these two sides. Jones with the move down the baseline. Gets the pass off to Buchanan. Buchanan out on top to Bridges. Bridges with a pull-up jumper. It's up and no good. Rebounded by Pratt. Pratt gets it over to Barnes. Barnes down to England. England looking across the court. Instead takes it himself. Gets the pass off. And the travel is called. And I won't comment. And the reason why I won't comment is because of the individual end stripes, and I'll leave it at that. Rebels with the ball. Sherfus on the far side. Gets it into Bridges. Back outside to Jones. Jones with the baseline move. Gets the pass off. He leans into it and gives him the charge. He thinks that the foul has been called on the Knights. Sorry, sir. Head to the other end of the court.
You can't drop your shoulder like that. As soon as you drop that shoulder, it's a charge, no matter if the defender's moving or not. And that's a cheap move used by people who can't get their own success in the post.
Being the Christmas tournament, Strange just got that big, humongous Christmas gift, unwrapped it, and found out that it was a box full of peanuts. England drives over to the other side, passes out on top to Barnes. Barnes starts to drive in, gets it back out to Hardy. Hardy looking in, gets it to Callahan. Callahan not able to handle it. And Hardy cuts across, trying to go for the ball, and in the process ends up tripping up Bridges. It'll be Rebels ball. Knights still with a 1-point lead. Had a nice look down through the lane there by Callahan. Callahan just not able to pick up the pass. Wasn't the best pass. Neither side really to blame on that. Hard to get that pass in through the defender. Buchanan with the 3-point shot. It's up, no good. Rebounded by England. England looking down court to Callahan. Instead, he'll keep it himself. Starts to make the move down inside. Hardy with an open look. Puts it up. It's no good. Rebounds tipped around. Ends up in the hands of Buchanan. Buchanan gets the pass off to Strange. Strange throws it down court to Sherfus. Tipped around. Finally, Rebels gain control of the ball. Sherfus drives in. Gets a shot up. And he finds a way to drop it in. I don't even know if Barnes even touched him while Sherfus was going up, but still gets the foul call. And Sherfus go to the line to make it 3 and possibly give the Rebels a 2-point lead. Knights come in with a little bit of a line change. Bain coming in along with number 21, Brett Mann. So Barnes, Callahan, and England staying out for the Knights. 3:13 on the clock. Sherfus is shot up and in, making a 2-point lead for the Rebels. England with the ball. Got an open Callahan on the far side. He moves down the baseline. A great move that time by Callahan. Callahan had the open spot and instead just drove right down the baseline. England with a perfect pass. A great play, and we're tied up at 41. First time that the game has been tied tonight. We've had some lead changes, but it's the first time that these two teams have matched up point-wise. 41-41. And a travel by Buchanan, and definitely the case. He brought the ball around, picked up his pivot foot, and kept on going. 2:40 on the clock. Knights will head the ball out of bounds. Out to inbound the ball will be Barnes. Barnes inbounds at the man. Man with an open look. He puts it in off the glass. Give the Knights a 2-point lead. Thanks to number 21, Brett Mann. Over around to Mannion. Mannion to Sherfus. Sherfus down to Buchanan. Buchanan fakes it. Gets it back out. Instead, England. England down to Callahan. Callahan takes it all the way down. No good. Man tips it back in. Instead, no good. Moving all around, and there's a foul call on Buchanan.
Whew. I thought they were calling a travel at first. And it's not a travel if the other guy's holding him down.
Talk about some crazy play. We're starting to get a little bit sloppy, but as long as the Knights are in the lead, I'm okay with a little bit of sloppy play. Bame inbounded for the Knights. Gets it to Barnes. Barnes throws it back to Bame. Bame wasn't expecting it. Still able to gain control. England around the back, through the legs, all over the place. Spins around, dribbles down, and gets an open look to Callahan, and it's no good. And Callahan commits the foul as Courtois pulls in the rebound. A great look there for Callahan. He's just not able to put it in. That was going to give the Knights an opportunity to take a 2-point possession. That would have been the first time since early on in the second quarter that would have been the case. 1:52 left on the clock. Rebels with the ball. Bridges gets a pass over to Sherfus. Sherfus back out to Bridges, around to Jones. Courtois with a lot of movement inside. Jones starts to dribble inside, instead takes it back out to Bridges. Bridges pump fake, gets it across. Wide open look, he puts it up, it's no good. Courtois gets the rebound, tips it around, and the Knights get the rebound this time. Callahan able to pull it in, and Knights gain possession, 1:20 left here in the third. England with the ball, drives down the lane, tries to get the pass over to Mann. Said it's tipped by the Rebels, not the best of passes that time around by England, who has had a lot of good passes tonight. Couple defenders on Courtois that time. Foul's going to be called on Barnes.
You can't hack your arm forward. If he had just jumped straight up, arms up in the air, they wouldn't have called anything. But as soon as he hacked that arm forward, that's when they knew it was a foul.
Courtois drops the first in, and over there on the far side, you know, it's the Rebels, as I was talking about, Alaric Jones, one of the most sportsman-like characters here in the NCAA Conference basketball. And Alaric even shaking his head saying, I don't think that was a foul. So when you got some of the opposing team saying that, and I tell you what, this has been a very clean game tonight. That's one thing that you really couldn't say last year, but these two teams playing some good, clean basketball. Been very fun to watch. 43-43 the score. Man with the ball, takes it down the lane. He puts it up and gets the roll to put it in, make it 45-43 now in favor of the Knights. 40 seconds on the clock. Surface with the ball. Pulls up the dribble over to Bridges. Bridges with the three-point look. It's no good. Rebounded by Man. Knights with a chance to take a two-possession lead to head into the fourth quarter. Scoreboard still says 43-43. It is 45-43 in favor of the Knights right now. Hopefully something that we get corrected here before too long. And somehow we get the 5 seconds call. It seemed quite like 5 seconds. We have gotten the correction now on the scoreboard. So the Rebels will have an opportunity to tie it up before heading into the final quarter of play. Bridges with the ball. Drives down, surface with an open look. He kind of threw it up a little bit awkward.
Looked like it almost hit the roof up there. That was a pretty high arcing shot.
He went shot put style there instead of throwing up a clean shot. England with the ball, 2 seconds left. One. England throws it up. Nowhere close, and not sure if he was able to get it off before the buzzer anyway, so we're at 45-43. Knights once again taking that lead there in the third quarter, so really the bad quarter for the Knights has been there in the second, and the Knights have definitely taken care of some of the mistakes that they made, and speaking of mistakes, almost had a big one down here on the floor by the Central Rebel cheerleaders. Able to recover from it, luckily. Well, 8 minutes on the clock. Jack, what do you think the Knights need to do to make sure that they can maintain this lead and find a way to win this game without Ankrum on the court?
Well, this is the easy way out, but they need to milk the clock until they can get a nice little shot inside, and then take that shot, and if you make it, and then go down here, play some defense, go down there and milk the clock. And if you do that every time, there'll only be about 12 possessions this quarter. Very few chances for the Rebels to get ahead.
I don't know if necessarily milk the clock is what I would say. What I would say is play the basketball you played in the first quarter. And they took their time. It's not necessarily milking the clock at this point. You've only got a 2-point lead, but you take your time and play smart basketball. Don't try to play fast basketball. So, at some point, milk the clock. If you can get a sizable lead, 2 points I wouldn't say would be the time to do it. But if you can get the nice shot or get an open look by Pratt there to extend it to a two-possession lead, Buchanan takes it all the way down the court. And the Rebels playing very fast, and instead a bad pass by Callahan. That's what I'm talking about. You don't want to see that. You don't want to see the fast play that's going to cause some mistakes. You want the smart, slow basketball. Pass inside, and both teams making some bad mistakes here early on in the fourth.
The Knights are in a good position right now because Central has to play fast basketball because they're down with a quarter left. So if the Knights can take the time, that's like I said, milk the clock, do that, get that in there, then Central's going to have to play fast to try and catch up with as little time as they've got.
This is the largest lead for the Knights since early on in the second quarter. Great time to have it here in the fourth. Jones across to Surface to Buchanan. Back to Surface. Knights doing a good job defensively here in the second half. Buchanan with a look. It's no good, and it's tipped out of bounds by Hardy. It'll be Rebels ball out of bounds. Jones came in kind of strong. Of course, all of us on this side of the court were hoping that the call was going to be out of bounds by the Rebels. Instead, Hardy even kind of owned up to it. He knew that it was out of bounds off of his hands. Jones with the ball for the Rebels. Dribbles around, starts to take a look inside. Nothing there. And gets the foul call. I believe that'll be on number 24, Callahan.
Now, what I'm not understanding is that Jones in the first half was their leading scorer, and he hasn't attempted a shot here in the second half.
Yeah, and a lot of that you're going to have to credit to the defense of the Knights. The Knights have done a great job on making sure that someone is there on Jones, not giving him those looks down the baseline. And this time, Callahan picks up the charge call. And talk about a head scratcher. Once again, I can't comment too much. The man in stripes, that's all I'll say. Callahan with the ball. I'm not saying that was necessarily the wrong call. Once again, the angle might not be the best from here, but the NBA flopping term, it could be used possibly. Oh, Bame gets his hands on the ball. Instead, it's a foul on Bame, and that's his fourth. Here in the fourth quarter, though, you're not going to pull him off the court at that point. And coming in for number 24, Callahan, will be number 21, Mann. Bridges with the ball over to Jones. Back to Bridges. Bridges fakes the pass inside. Goes back over to Jones. Nothing going for the Rebels right now. The Knights playing some great defense. And starts to get the open look, but Richardson stuffed hard by Pratt. Gets another shot up. It's tipped around. And Bame ends up with the rebound for the Knights. England over to Pratt. Pratt's already put in 4 points so far here in the fourth quarter. England with the ball. Looking down court inside, and instead gets the foul from Buchanan. That's Buchanan's third foul. Both teams pretty even on the fouls so far here in the second half. The Rebels only with 5 compared to the Knights 6. So at this moment, not looking at the fouls making a huge difference between the two teams. Barnes gets the pass in to England. England looking inside. Throws the ball to Pratt. Pratt picks it up over to England. England looks inside. Hardy had a little bit of an open window. Instead, England takes the pick. Comes around the baseline. Gets an open look for Hardy. Hardy up, no good. Once again, it's that hot or cold thing that I talked about there in the first quarter. He's kind of cold at this point. He hasn't had a chance to stay hot. And Bridges with the shot up. It's no good. Courtois with the rebound. He puts it back up and in. Cut it back to 4-point lead for the Knights. England with the ball. Coming down the court hard. England lets the things kind of settle in and happen. Barnes with the look. It's no good. Ends up being an air ball. Not the kind of thing that you want to hear from the Rebels side. Jones gets a pass into Courtois. Courtois looking out. Instead takes it himself. Puts a shot up. It's no good. Rebounded by Mann. And, at the beginning of the season, it's something that we knew was going to happen. When the Knights finally get Ankrum back and healthy down in the post, Courtois is going to be the one that's going to have to play on him. And there's no doubt in my mind that if he's not able to handle Brett Mann inside, he's going to have a hard time being able to stick with a guy like Ankrum. Yeah, so Jack, back at, let's rewind a couple of hours here, and you hear the news that Ankrum's out. Did you ever think that sitting here in the fourth quarter we'd be looking at a 49-45 score in favor of the Knights?
Honestly, when I heard that Ankrum was out, my hopes for winning the game went down a little because he's clearly our best player. But this right here gives me hope for when we play Central in conference play, conference tournament, district play. Because if we have a 4-point lead without Ankrum, with Ankrum, our post play is improving, our rebounding's improving.
Definitely.
And he gives the team the fire, the energy, just like that three is going to give us. He gives that to us just by being on the floor. So with all that added, I see us maybe having a 12-point lead right now.
Well, we're not too far from it. 9-point lead. You want to talk about a pumped-up Knights team. Take a look over there at Ankrum. Usually in this case, he'd be jumping up and down, but instead with that hurt ankle,
he tried.
He kind of pivots around on that foot, and, the rest of his body went up. His feet just stayed on the floor. So great to see that from a guy that is just itching to be out there on the court right now, but loves to see his team up by 9 points, 54-45. And when you look at the stat sheet, the one player that I thought would be the difference maker tonight was going to be Bridges. And at this point, how many points does he have on the night, Jack?
He's got 6 points total on the night right
6. Now, if we thumb back through the papers here and we look at the stuff that we talked about during the pregame, and you look to a year ago, Jake Bridges had 17 points. You thumb back to Saturday when Central played against DeSoto, Bridges had 20 points. You want to talk about a difference maker, the Knights being able to find a way to contain Bridges is what has got them up right now by 9 points without a doubt in my mind. Holding Jake Bridges to only 6 points is an impressive stat for the Knights. Really speaks to the perimeter and the guard play that the Knights have this season. Nice job by Jonah Barnes. He's able to get the steal, throws it off to Callahan. Callahan takes it all the way down court. He's trying to take it himself, throws up the shot, and draws the foul in the process. That's what I call rewarding bad offense, but that's bad defense, finding a way to commit a foul when there should have never been the chance for a foul there.
I'm looking at the benches right now. At that play, Farmington's bench, all of them were standing up. Look over at Central, they're all hanging their heads. Some of them still are. Some of them, Central's look like they've given up on this game.
Well, I can tell you right now, no doubt that they're disappointed because you get the news that Jordan Ankram's out. That's going to be the one thing that makes you think that you're going to go out there and you're going to win. And they come out here instead and now face an 11-point deficit. You said a 12-point deficit. We're only a point away from it now. Jones with the ball, takes it down the baseline. We've seen the move several times, this time blocked by Barnes. Incredible play by the Knights defense.
What I think the most impressive stat for the Knights so far in the second half is they've not let Caldwell get a rebound here in the second half. They've completely shut him down on the boards. And Bridges, that's his third missed three tonight.
He got an open look that time, and instead it ends up going back to the Knights. 11-point lead, 2:50 on the clock. It's the most comfortable I've been played against the Rebels here at the TJ Fulon Fieldhouse in quite a while.
Really pulled it together in this fourth quarter. In the second half, as soon as they came back from halftime, they really just went right on the floor, started dominating, just like they did in the first quarter.
Well, when you look at it, the Knights, over the course of this game, have only lost one quarter. They lost that second quarter. And outside of that, they've been able to come back and outscore the Rebels in every single quarter. So winning 3 quarters of a basketball game, it speaks volumes to what this Knights team has this season and what we should expect to see for the rest of the year and into districts and beyond.
Yeah, if you look at the scores quarter by quarter, in the second quarter Central had 20, and then in the third quarter they finished with 11 points. So that's a really big difference, and the Knights went from 10 to 16 from second to third.
Pretty crazy to see when you look across there and you see that outside of this quarter, the Rebels on the night have had a total of 43 points and right now have 45 points on the board. That means that in nearly 5.5 minutes of play, they've only put 2 points on the board.
The Knights, on the other hand, have put 13 up on the board.
Great fourth quarter here by the Knights. Callahan takes it down the baseline, tries to get the pass over to Mann, and instead it ends up in the hands of Jones. Jones takes it all the way down court himself. And Jones took the bad shot, but Barnes was standing there in the way and ends up getting called for the foul. And it's right call, not the call that you want if you're a Knights fan, but it's one of those that you just call a cheap foul. It's one that the offensive player knows that he can get if he tries to go up with a shot. He did exactly that, and he'll go to the line. And on the first shot, not going to hurt you at all. 56-45 still the score now, 2:18 on the clock.
These free throws are too important to miss. That makes Jones 1 for 3 on free throws right now. And he's got 12 points overall.
And the Knights will go ahead and call a full timeout here just to make sure that the Knights are a little bit settled in their strategy for the rest of this quarter. Now, that's one thing just a second ago and talking about strategy. The Knights had a chance there to possibly go down court real quick. When you've got an 11-point lead, that's not what you need to do. You don't need to take it down the court as quick as possible. Be slow, be in control. This is the time that we can go back to doing what you talked about, and that's milking the clock. You've got an 11-point lead, 2:18 on the clock. Now's when you milk. No doubt about it.
That'd be the perfect game plan. And then from what we've seen is they've been playing great defense. So if you're milking the clock and then going down the floor, playing great defense, getting a steal, a block, a rebound, letting them score every now and then, that's the way to win the game. Even if they had a 2-point lead right now, I'd still start milking the clock and try and get that good defense in there.
Now, turning page and looking to tomorrow night, if the Knights are able to hold on and win this game, they'll be facing South Iron, who typically comes in as one of the higher seeds. You go back and you look at the book, time and time again, they've been one of the top seeds in the tournament.
They're a good team. They've got that good guard, number 3, number 24 is a decent player.
When you really look at it, though, being able to contain that guard, we've been able to do that tonight against Bridges. So I think that that's great for us. And Callahan down here on the other side, I believe he was trying to call a timeout, but Fitzwater didn't give it to him. Anyway, back to turning the page once again. You look at South Iron, and I think that really the difference maker for them could be that 24, that 6'4" athlete that they have. He's able to throw down a couple of dunks in the Arcadia Valley tournament earlier in the season. So he could be a difference maker with Anchormount once again, but the guard play has definitely stepped up for the Knights all game long, and we'll send number 30 to the line. That is Connor Proffer.
Do we know for certain if Ankram's going to be out tomorrow?
Well, the way that he's walking around tonight, I would say we're going to be lucky if we can even see him in the game against Eureka, the home opener for the Knights on January 3rd, much less see him New Year's Eve. Second one up by Proffer. It's good. Rebels trying to make this a game once again. 2:07 left on the clock. 8 points is far from being a secure lead for any team. And Bridges commits the quick foul. That'll send the Knights to the line for 1-1. Might not be a bad foul at this point in the game when you're facing an 8-point deficit and you go to the line at 1-1.
This is when all those free throws you take in practice come in handy.
Well, hopefully we don't see the same thing that we saw in the second quarter, and that was a bad set of trips to the line for the Knights. First one's up and in, exactly what we need to see. Barnes at the line for his second. It's up and drops it through to the bottom. Knights hold on to that 10-point lead. Ball being passed around the perimeter, tipped around by England. England nearly with the chance there to strip it away. Alaric Jones with an open look from the baseline. He drops it in. Callahan bringing it down the court for the Knights, slows it down a bit. Dribbles around, takes it all the way down himself. Nearly gets it to fall. Instead, ends up being rebounded by number 30, Connor Proffer, and he'll go to the line for 1-1. Proffer with a chance to cut this to 6 points. Not sure why Callahan felt like he needed to have that fast play right there and break down the key. Knights at this point, slow down. 8-point lead. Hold on to it. Proffer's first shot up and in. Make it 58-51. Proffer's second. Locks it in, make it a 6-point game. And out to pass it in for the Knights will be Barnes. Barnes looking down court. Has to hurry up and get the pass off. Gets it off, and the 5-second call is made. 1:29 on the clock. Rebels back with the ball. Bridges with the inbound, gets it into Buchanan. Buchanan tries to get it across. It's stolen away by Callahan. Callahan over to England, gets the pass over to Barnes, and Barnes is fouled on the way up. What a huge steal by the man that saved us last time in the fourth quarter when these two teams met.
And that's Buchanan's fourth foul of the game. He's almost done. 8th foul for the Rebels in the second half.
Luckily for them, they've got Sherpas over there on the bench that's done a nice job. Those two players have been able to switch spots on England, and both teams have been able to stick with England pretty well throughout this game. Crucial missed free throw there. Hopefully he'll be able to put in the second and go ahead and extend this to at least a 3-possession game. Shots up and puts it in, so 3 possessions it is. 7-point game now, 59-52. Bridges to Crawford. Crawford dribbles around to Buchanan. Buchanan over to Jones. Jones gets a 3-point shot up. It's no good. Over the backboard, it's tipped out of bounds by Bridges. It'll be Farmington Knights ball. 1:12 now on the clock.
Looks like Central's going with a small shooting lineup.
Talk about some speed. Right now, the Rebels have a ton of speed on the court. Barnes with the ball. He gets trapped in the corner, something that the Knights have been in the middle of several times. And he calls a traveling call. How in the world do you call that? I've held my tongue all night long when it came to some of these calls. That is the worst one of the night. Absolutely horrible call that time.
They're letting, when these Central players get the Farmington into a trap, they're letting them just maul him until he has to travel or the 5 seconds called. They're not doing anything to stop him. Great steal by Callahan. Goes up, can't finish.
Once again, Knights have a 7-point lead. How do you not try to take time off the clock? Instead, on the other end of the court, Crawford nearly able to get it to fall. Knights doing a good job now throwing the ball back and forth, playing a little bit of keep away to drain some time off the clock. It ends up getting tipped out of bounds. And instead it's called out of bounds on Callahan.
Refs decide to hold their whistle in the worst possible time.
.4, thank goodness. The Knights have a 3-possession lead right now. Crawford takes it down the baseline, gets it over to Courtois. Courtois tries to throw it up. He had his entire hand on the ball. Entire hand. Rebels find a way to get this win. I'm not giving it to the Rebels. And all of you know who I'm giving it to.
That's Barnes' 5th foul. He fouled out of the game, even though that was not a foul. It's no wonder where these refs' paychecks are coming from at this point.
They've had plenty of them this week, and they've all came from this building. Well, what I'll say is they're not bad on purpose. I'll give you one of these 3 refs tonight is one of the best in the area, and he's worth his weight in gold. And actually last year when these two teams met, he actually got injured, and it was one of the other refs out here that ended up coming in, and I'll say I wasn't too happy about that myself. 59-54. 26.1, so Knights with the 2-possession lead. And definitely expect the Rebels to foul as soon as the inbound's thrown in here, because the Knights have not had a great night at the free throw line.
They've improved since the second half, but this is the point where if he makes just 1 free throw, that's 2 threes for Central in 25 seconds.
Well, as I've said, I've seen stranger things happen. You know, just a little bit ago we had a 10-point lead. And we've seen that Drain down here to 59-54. And I think if you're going to try to get the ball in, you're going to go to one of your two guards in this case. You're going to either try to get it into Callahan or England are the two that I would try to get it into for the free throws. See what kind of play.
I could see him try and get it to Hardy. He's been having a pretty good night so far. He's kind of slowed down a little bit.
First quarter, he had great night. How many fouls is that for Jones?
That's his third.
Please. Had a couple of fouls that he didn't quite agree with earlier in the night. I wasn't sure if he had any more outside of that or not, but 3 won't hurt him too bad, especially with 24.9 left to play. He had 1 to give. As I said, it was either going to be England or Callahan. This inbound goes to England. England's first shot is up and drops through to the bottom. They extend that to 6, 7. Almost pushes it out of reach, but still won't count all of them. There it drops through.
3 possessions, 24 seconds to do it.
Big shot, and Jack, your brother over there, is red-faced and yelling pretty loud.
This is the best part of the game. Central's got to force threes, and they can't make one so far.
And we'll send DJ Hardy to the line with 13.4. Jack, I tell you, you look back through the night, and to think that we would have a 7-point lead and be extending on that lead at the end of the game without Jordan Ankrum is surprising to me. I'm not taking anything away from any of the other players on the court. I just think that these two teams match up really well when you take out Ankrum. And Ankrum, no doubt, will be a difference maker that come conference play and come district play and everything else could make this a game that's not even a whole lot of fun to watch. If they can maintain that same defense on the perimeter that they've been able to do with Jones and Bridges tonight.
These stands are thinning out now, especially on the central side over here. And this is going to end the game.
And the Knights able to get the win, and you look out there to how the Knights are celebrating. You would almost think that this might be the finals tonight. And I'll tell you what, tonight's game means a whole lot more than tomorrow night's game for this team.
This was the game everyone wanted to see. Everyone knew this game was going to happen because of the way the brackets were set up. This should have been the championship game. This is what everyone wants to see.
It's hard to argue, though, when you look at the seeds. Hillsboro, I think, maybe could have gotten a higher seed with them coming in undefeated. South Iron always comes in with the high seed, so to see them get a 1, that wasn't surprising either, even though that they had a loss while Hillsboro didn't. When you really look at everything, I'm surprised that Hillsboro ended up getting the 4 seed. When you really look through everything, to have the Knights be at where they're at now with the chance to win this tournament tomorrow night is huge. As you'll see here in just a little bit, that man on the crutches is what makes it even more surprising. Great job tonight by the Knights, and look forward to seeing what they can do tomorrow night. Thank you for joining us here on Night Vision Media. Once again, it's been Aaron Murray alongside with Jack Pinkley bringing you tonight's semifinals between the Farmington Knights and Central Rebels. Thanks for watching.